Hey everybody, your friendly neighborhood game master Zach Hall here. I am currently over halfway through running Pathfinder Second Edition's beginner box for three completely brand new players to the pen and paper genre, and thought I'd put some quick thoughts in a video. This is kind of off the cuff, but hoping I can keep it relatively short and sweet, just to tell you all about my GMing experience so far running Pathfinder, specifically the beginner's box, and we can talk about my plans for next steps. So I've been running the beginner box, three brand new players. They are all familiar with RPG concepts, but they've all been in video games, but all of them were very excited to be making their debut into the pen and paper tabletop role playing game genre. When we were having conversations about it, it was obviously using D&D as like a blanket term, but as we got into the nitty gritty and of like scheduling and stuff, I was like, hey, do y'all mind if I run a different game that isn't exactly Dungeons and Dragons? Like, you won't know the difference, but I just wanted to clear things up in case you guys were actually interested in playing D&D instead of something similar. Everybody was like, no, like if you want to run something else, that sounds great. We're just excited to be playing. So that was an easy conversation. And the beginner's box has been so much fun. I am impressed with how much content they were able to cram into that box that is easily supplemented by the plethora of free tools available digitally and online because of the incredible open gaming license that Paizo uses. So we didn't use the pre-made characters. Each character made their own. We used Path Builder 2e for that. Made it really, really simple. But we've been running the included adventure. I've been using the Playmat and been using the included paper. They call them pawns. They're kind of like flat printed cardboard that comes with tokens that you can kind of easily swap in and out. Those are incredible. I'm a huge fan of that. I love having tactile tokens or minis, but I am not a painter. I have a huge amount of respect for people who enjoy that aspect of the hobby, but it's not me. I'm not incredibly dexterous. I have yet to find that my ADHD finds that a really soothing task. I haven't put a ton into it, but I'm not a visual creative person. I when it comes to my creativity, it's in storytelling. It's in that's either orally or written form. My artistic sense, visual art sense is way below that. So the paper pawns is an incredibly awesome middle point between nothing or really abstract tokens, which I've used before. I've just used like D6s and did different numbers on the top to represent different enemies so we could see and name who's who. I've done flat like little tokens that were like completely flat, and I would print something on top of it and use glue and tape. Really cool DIY solution, but the official pawns from Paizo are really nice. Really enjoyed using those. I went ahead and bought their general, just I think it was their bestiary or just generalized pawn set. And I'm hoping that there's a lot of community around those because I will continue to use them as we go. The playmat has been incredible for the first side, the first level of the dungeon. I didn't block any vision. It's a pretty straight line, but my players understood. But as soon as they flipped over to the downstairs portion of the dungeon, it was between sessions, and so I set up the map with Fog of War, aka construction paper, quickly taped to block out different rooms, and they loved it. They were over the moon about it. It honestly, it got a bigger response than I was expecting for something so little. But for these guys are gamers, and they're there for some of the mechanics and the decision making and impactful decisions. And so their ability to make decisions with only the knowledge, as much of the knowledge that their characters have with related to vision, they really, really enjoyed that. And was a great addition. But the biggest response that I've gotten, we've played 3 sessions so far. I think we're going to wrap up in the next, which some of you might feel like is a long time. It's probably going to end up being 10 to 12 hours total time of going through the adventure. But we had a ton of fun, and the players really engaged with the different puzzles and the traps, and really got in and created some creative solutions. So I no lost time for me, having a great time. But the number one biggest reaction that my players have enjoyed, or they've expressed how much they loved, that they've asked for continually, has been the sound sets that I purchased from Sirenscape. Sirenscape has officially worked with Paizo and created sound sets for the Beginner's Box Adventure. I've just got that loaded up on an iPad that sits behind my GM screen, connected to a pretty cheap Bluetooth speaker that sits kind of off table, pointing at us, and they lost their minds the first time that I used it. And every room, especially every combat that they go into, they're if I don't hit it, they're like, GM, can we get the sound? Can we get the music? And I absolutely love that. I'm a little intimidated because I think it means I'm gonna need to use it in the future. So we can kind of talk about that, of what do I need to do to get set up for that. But man, it's just been a ton of fun. We've really enjoyed it. They got pretty stumped by the mermaid fountain trap. If you have run the Beginner's Box, you might know what I'm talking about. There's potential that I didn't do it correctly, or that I don't understand the rules around hardness and stuff, but they only being 3 of them, none of them are a rogue and specced out to be really good at thievery. So a DC 20 thievery check 3 separate times, combined with a 18 AC hardness of 8 mechanic to try to physically crush it. None of the characters are specced out to handle either one of those easily. And so one character got dropped to less than 5 HP in the fountain room, and they decided to hightail it back out, and then made a decision that wasn't necessarily predicted in the book, but wasn't too difficult to handle. They just sprinted past the mermaid trap into the kobolds den home situation. So they haven't gone into the the depths, or the water area yet at all. So it'll be interesting. I think I can point them in that direction in order to get the XP required to level up to 2 before doing the final fight. But man, it's going to be a ton of fun. They're having a blast. I'm having a blast. And I am looking forward to continue running Pathfinder 2nd Edition with them. They want to stick with it past the Beginner's Box. This was originally just supposed to be a one-shot, because I didn't know how much content was in the Beginner's Box. Obviously has turned into more like a 4-shot, just playing the Beginner's Box, but they want to keep playing, and we're going to play a campaign, I think, with these 3 characters. I don't think any of the adventure paths for Pathfinder 2e is right for this group. They all want to play kind of a Lord of the Rings-esque, heroes from nowhere leaving home to protect their home, unlikely heroes going on an epic journey to save the world type shit. So I think I'm going to run what everybody seems to be a really popular adventure path from the first edition is Rise of the Rune Lords. There's an incredible community in the Pathfinder fandom that goes and helps people convert first edition APs into second edition. Rise of the Rune Lords has already been done. I've seen a couple of content creators out there running second edition version of Rise of the Rune Lords. And so I'm, none of us have any experience with Galarian lore or anything like that, but that one seems really kind of up our alley of what we're looking to do. But if you have a suggestion of that epic, heroic, unlikely hero adventure path, if there's a better one that you think we might enjoy more, let us know. I've already kind of hand waved that the beginner box adventure is happening in Sandpoint to kind of set us up for Rise of the Rune Lords, but nothing that can't be, like hand waved away. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting to figure out. I might end up creating a video, something small, to talk about how I launched in from beginner box into Rise of the Rune Lords, since it's very possibly my characters, the PCs will be very close to level 3 by the time they get started with a new adventure path, but we'll see. So that's been my experience with beginner box. Obviously I haven't finished yet, but I think we're going to get it in our next session. 10 out of 10, cannot recommend enough. And if there's one thing that I would go ahead and spend a little bit extra dough on, if you're planning on running the beginner's box, is getting those Sirenscape sound sets for it. I will include a link to that in the doobie-doo. Not an ad, not partnered with Sirenscape, though. If they want to, they can let me know. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I might have to start digging around how to work with and creating custom sound sets in Sirenscape for once we start playing Rise of the Rune Lords, because I think my players are going to want to keep that up. So if anybody out there is a Sirenscape power user or knows a content creator who's out there doing that kind of work, let me know. I would love to learn more about that. So if you enjoyed this video, hit a thumbs up. If you've run the beginner's box and want to share some of your own experiences, leave them down in the comments. If you have questions about the beginner's box, you can leave them in the comments too, and I'll answer any questions or can expand on my experiences as much as I can. Coming from a 5th edition DM, this has been incredibly rewarding, and I can't wait to continue my Pathfinder 2nd edition journey. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Peace.